accent, strong accent. I'm from Kentucky. No, I'm just kidding. I'm from Albania, from Kosovo. So for you guys don't know where's Kosovo at, actually near Auburn Hills. Just kidding. Like Kosovo is located back in Europe. It's near Italy. So I moved here 22 years ago to be together with my family. So for you guys don't know about Albania a little bit, so they are very stubborn, very loud, and we always right. So if you don't believe me, ask my husband. We have really good food, pretty women, and the main thing I cannot forget, even the women, they have balls. When I say about balls, we hiding pretty good. We actually have balls. What I mean with that, we are really tough. So talking about balls, recently my dad had some issue with his balls. So just to give you a little bit idea how my dad looked like, he actually looked like Asian, but actually he's Albanian. He's tall, 5'7". If you guys saw Karate Kid, he looked like Mr. Miyagi. So back home, he was a singer and comedian, so he think like here in US, when he came out, just gonna use the same jokes. But if you translate from Albanian to English, doesn't make no goddamn sense. So he went, had exam, and then he thought in his mind, in that process when he was having exam, checking his butt, I'm just gonna throw some jokes to the doctor. So he pretty much told me he's like, I told the doctor, it feels good, don't move. And let me just picture, he's telling me the story when we're having a dinner. So I'm like, okay, Dad, probably the docs are gonna think you are gay or really weird. So I got permission to tell this story. As Albanian, we try to be respectful to our husband. So I'm gonna talk a little bit about sex life.
Woo!
Yeah. So I have 2 kids, married 14 years.
Woo!
Yeah, thank you. So when you have a kid, your body change and you try to look sexy or spice it up your relationship. So one night I was like, you know what? I'm gonna wear the outfit, sexy outfit I actually purchased 14 years ago. And then for the guys who don't know, when the body change and you feel like you are still in the same shape where you were 14 years ago, it took me 45 minutes. After 45 minutes, I'm getting all sweaty and I'm like, let me just give you an idea. My husband was playing video game at this time. So I'm like, hey honey, can you please come upstairs? So I'm trying to be a little bit sexy and surprised. And then he goes like, what do you want? I'm like, okay, my mood already, this is great. So I'm calling him again and I'm like, can you please just come upstairs? He finally came up and he's like, ooh, you look nice. I'm like, yeah. Let me just say this, the party ended after 5 minutes. And in myself, you want to be respectful and you're like, no, it's okay. But inside of me, I'm like, shoot my head. This sucked. In the top of that, he goes like, well, I can't help it. You are too sexy. I owe you one. Okay, so what are you supposed to do with I owe you one? What does this even mean? So then I'm like, no, that's okay. But inside of me, I'm like, oh my God, just shoot my head. Do I really need to listen to this conversation? When I have my daughter, I work till the last day. You trying to use the time. So we have son in that time was like 16-month old. And it was Friday night, so you guys know on Friday you just want to lay down, working hard all day. I was having construction all day. And I'm like, oh my God, yeah, we're gonna go in hospital tonight. So I got home, and then I'm like, my husband was like, I don't want to do anything, I'm exhausted. I'm like, yeah, great. Hey, honey, actually, we're gonna go to hospital tonight because I've been having contraction all day. And then he goes, why do you have to have the kids always in nighttime? And I'm like, am I pushing this kid or he's pushing this kid? I'm a little bit confused. So then I came with a sentence. I'm like, you know what happened when you ask for the sex in the morning? Your wife going labor at nighttime. So you better get ready. Coming from Europe, I never really drink back home, so I'm a cheap drinker. I will have 2 margaritas and then I will be drunk. And usually I say I want to go to bed. So meaning like sleeping. So I have really tough, moving in sales, I have really tough days. So one of my coworkers was like, you know what? Just go order margarita, buy margarita, and then you will feel good. It's Friday. I'm like, great, this sounds good. I went in Kroger, purchased the margarita, put the music. I like dancing around by myself in the house. So I put like drinking. I'm like, this sounds great. I should drink more. This is awesome. This makes me feel so good. And then my husband came, and I'm like, hey, honey, I bought some margarita. It's in the kitchen. And then he goes in, and then he's looking at the margarita, and he's like, oh, where is the alcohol? And then I'm like, what do you mean? He's like, this is just the mixer? I'm like, oh, okay.